Awesome. Well, good afternoon. Welcome to the Tec Talk Podcast, episode 3. Today I'm joined by Jim Lockwood, co-founder of the Lockwood Group. A little bit about the Lockwood Group. They focus on mission readiness across the defense and federal space, and they are also a part of the Tec Masters Mentor Protege program. This conversation today isn't just a podcast conversation. This is actually an active working relationship that we have with them quite regularly. So this is just in addition to that. Jim, I appreciate you taking the time to join us today. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you, Luke. Thank you, Tec Masters team. I'm looking forward to the discussion.
Awesome. We're more than happy to have you here today. As a lot of our viewers, they probably have no idea what it looks like to come onto a podcast session. So we greatly appreciate you being here. But I guess we'll go ahead and just briefly get into the meat of the podcast, and we'll just take it wherever it goes. But first off, I would kind of like you to explain what the Lockwood Group does, and also the problem sets that you guys exist to try to solve.
Great question. Thank you, Luke. I think you touched on it up front a little bit. We've got a long working relationship with Tec Masters, and really appreciate, again, today's discussion, the opportunity to work together. So the Lockwood Group, how we like to term it is we deliver next generation services and supporting mission readiness for defense customers. At a practical level, really our North Star is we help teams solve problems. We apply our expertise, and it's our job and our focus is to identify the customer problems and then apply services, solutions, people to solve the problem. And ultimately, the output we're always looking for is improved mission readiness.
Awesome. So I think you kind of explained what mission readiness actually means. I guess would that be a fair thing? Would you just explain what's mission readiness, or is there a little bit more about what specific kind of mission readiness are you guys working towards, or where are you focusing your efforts on, especially from the Department of War and formerly known as DOD, but I keep saying DOD all the time, but Department of War. What efforts are you guys specifically focused on from a mission readiness aspect?
Yeah, good question. To kind of address, I think, the upfront question, I'll start with really the where it came from, where the moniker and what we consider our North Star came from, because that really kind of gives some foundation for what it means to us. So the company was co-founded by James, my father, myself, back in the late 2000s. Really, at that time, there was a lot going on in the world. The U.S. was supporting great allies in two different regions of the world, and really the Department of Defense, as we now know, Department of War, was really focused on warfighter and warfighter capability. So what they were doing then was what they were pushing capability out. They called it quick reaction capability, that was ready to go in the hands of the warfighter to support what they needed at that point. Well, as that was happening, and I'd say the military was stretched too thin, because they were supporting two major allies, and so capabilities was being put out, but there was a missing component. And really what we observed, and what my father from his longtime military career observed, was there was an element of mission readiness missing. So that's really what we wanted to get at. So at that point, we started the company to get at the what we believe the warfighter needed to close that mission readiness gap, and that became our North Star, leading the way to mission readiness. So kind of, fast forward, I think the conversation may take us to different problem sets. So I'll leave it at that. That's where where it came from. And it's really what inspires us each and every day. It's really supporting that warfighter, making sure they're mission ready.
Awesome. Well, no, I greatly appreciate that explanation. And I would be remiss to say if we didn't appreciate your father, and as a disabled veteran. I think you guys are you guys a service disabled veteran owned small business as well?
Yes, we're a service-disabled veteran-owned small business. Yeah, proudly owned. Of course, appreciate my father's service and what he's done for the nation. And yeah, we're a service-disabled veteran-owned small business. Proud of it.
I think it's awesome that like two individuals like you, and I'm sure there's a lot more across the country, but they work in the they work in the military, different branches, et cetera, and they see some problem sets, and they actually not just see it, but they also say, let's see how we can fix it. So that's remarkable. I love that. I love the backstory with that. From a mission readiness perspective, what do you, I guess, where are the programs that suffer the most from this aspect? Is it combat arms? Is it aviation? Is it program office level support? Where are you guys seeing a lot of the mission readiness not at the level that it should be?
Yeah, great question. I think from a standpoint of, I think mission readiness, I think there could be gaps in all of the above. Not to say there is modern day, but I think there's always, a way to improve the posture of, the warfighter to improve his mission readiness. I think some use cases where we've seen those instances. Training is a great example. There's instances back to kind of the example I gave prior, which I think does correlate somewhat to, I think, how the vision of our current leadership in getting capability to the field is capabilities there, but all the things that associate with the capability, it could be training, documentation, training, actual hands-on training may not all be there that day one. So when that's handed over to, the soldier, the airman, the guardian, whoever it may be, they may not have all that. So really that's kind of what we see, where we come in as an example, where, we want to make sure whatever's needed from a training perspective is delivered with that capability. And that's, one example where we see some gaps. It could be, logistics is a core functional area of our background. We've got very, very deep expertise. I think we'll get into that in the discussion. But logistics being, something that exists in the complete development of a weapon system, there's always, our industry partners and the defense industrial base build some great technology, some great systems, but, they can't get everything perfect. So in that, there's always an element. It could be an element of reliability. It could be an element of, changing the design to make it, more make it more maintainability for the soldier. Yeah. There's all those different instances.
I gotcha. I guess I'll go back just a little bit to Lockwood Group, and then we'll start talking a little bit more about the innovative side of the house for Lockwood Group. But from the Lockwood Group's perspective, you guys are you guys here locally in Huntsville, or do you guys have multiple locations across the U.S.? You want to talk a little bit about that and the different offices you guys might be supporting currently for the Department of War and also from the federal perspective?
Sure. Yeah. So from a geography standpoint, we are proudly located in support of customers here in Huntsville. So we do have a local office and presence here, and a great team doing great work. We've got a presence up in Maryland, both in Northern Maryland and Aberdeen, where there's a strong contingent of C5ISR customers, and we've also got a number of other satellite locations. DC certainly have some presence in the National Capital Region, where a lot of senior decision making's done. And then we've got beyond that, a global footprint. We've got folks on the ground, supporting soldiers day to day on their equipment. Again, getting them mission ready to do whatever they got to do to support the nation.
Yeah, I think that's super important to note that you guys are actively on the ground in several of these countries. I think I saw a news article about you guys not too long ago. You guys were pretty instrumental, if I'm not mistaken. Correct me if I'm wrong, but instrumental when it comes to fielding of the M270A2 field artillery launchers, supporting PAE fires. Is that correct? You guys are supporting from a logistics perspective those specific efforts?
Correct. Yeah, we're great important customer supporting the Storm Project Office. Yeah. We've got a contingent of subject matter experts in partnership with Tec Masters in supporting very current operations and very important operations around the globe in very important areas, and applying that knowledge and improving mission readiness and really doing on the ground problem solving for those customers.
Awesome. Yeah, and being a former Army soldier, I mean, I think it's so important. We need these capabilities, but you also have to understand from the mission readiness, how do we stay ready for whenever we're called upon. So you guys are doing some important work. That's awesome. I guess we'll move a little bit into the technology innovation part of the podcast now. And I know that one of the things that stood out to Tec Masters early on from a mentor protege perspective was the Lockwood Group's focus on innovation. And as you are aware, as a founder of Lockwood Group, that the mentor protege program requires companies now to bring some kind of unique capability or tool set. So could you kind of talk about that kind of innovative technology that you brought into the mentor protege program 2 or 3 years ago, and how that differentiates the Lockwood Group from the rest of the guys that are doing some of the similar work that you guys are?
Sure. No, good question. I think that the way we looked at the technology side, I think, is how we looked at anything back to kind of what we talked about up front was, where is there a gap in mission readiness, and then where can we use our problem-solving mindset to solve that? So in that, what we saw and how we call the technology that we're developing is the digital sustainment toolkit. The digital sustainment toolkit really is getting, I'd say, from a pure perspective of what's going on in the technology space, as we're all aware, there's AI, as an example, is moving very fast. AI is impacting nearly everything. So as we saw that going on in the commercial sector, and we saw that going on just as a reality, we saw where logistics could use AI to improve mission readiness. So that being logistics is pretty big. It's a big topic area. So we're really unpacking that in many different areas. I'd say currently, I'll give you kind of one example of an active solution technology we're building, and a couple things that are in the queue. Right now we are building a tool technology to streamline the process to create documents, tech manuals as one example, using AI. So right now that's something that takes a lot of manpower, a lot of man years manpower, and it's can take years. Well, our vision and the technology we're creating, streamlining that down to 6 months or less, or even much shorter time frames. Really, because what the output there is, you're focused more on building the tech and the mission readiness, as I described kind of that example earlier. The tech and the capability and the logistics is there day one. So digital sustainment toolkit, that docs one is one we're working on, but there's other areas we're working on because we think there's a lot of opportunity for AI to positively impact logistics.
Awesome. Yeah, that's something that I've learned today about the digital sustainment toolkit. I think that's an awesome capability. Could you talk about how the relationship with Tec Masters and the Lockwood Group within the Mentor Protege program, how has that helped the development or the continued development of the digital sustainment toolkit?
Yeah, so I think I'd make this as an overarching statement. I mean, the partnership between us and Tec Masters it's deep, it's strong. We've been working together, in this program for 3 years, and then as partners at least 5 years now, and it's been built really upon I think it's a very a culture alignment, which I think is top most important. A lot of trust between the organizations. And then I think from a pure technical perspective, I've not, from a partnership perspective, they are, Tec Masters, and your team is the most advanced that we've worked with from an AI perspective as it applies to defense applications. So that element of having the AI background technology and really understand where it's going, I think, because that's like anything, it's a buzzword. And as see different companies or different ways it's being applied, it's really understanding how to use it and make it useful. And I think that aspect of it's back to kind of problem solving is how do we apply this new technology to solve a problem and then create real outcomes.
Yeah, I think you're spot on about AI is the buzzword, and what we're focused on here at Tec Masters as well as the Lockwood Group is creating those customized AI tools for specific use cases, and that's where we're focusing and honing in on. Because at the end of the day, you can have AI, but if it's not customized to the specific needs of your customer, then it's not going to really be utilized to the extent it should be. That's so. I think that us bringing the AI guys on that we brought in last year not only has been super beneficial to the company, but it has greatly benefited our proteges. So we love the interactions that we get to have with you guys, throwing ideas around, brainstorming, because when you get several smart guys in a room, it's crazy what you can come up with together. But yeah, so that's awesome. I appreciate you explaining that. So from the perspective of balancing innovation with the realities of being compliant and executing in the government contracting world, how have you guys, or I'm sure you're working through this right now because we here at Tec Masters are also doing it, but how are you guys like balancing the innovation but also understanding there's a compliance side of it? So how are you guys going to specific customers and asking them, how can we get this capability into your hands, and what does the compliance side look like? Or could you talk a little bit more about that from that perspective?
Yeah, it's an interesting problem set. I'm glad you brought that up, because I think there's an element. It's back to what AI is. It's new. I mean, it's not new, but it's newer for the Department of Defense, Department of War, from a pure adoption standpoint. Now, obviously, the current team is pushing adoption, which is great. So adoption's happening fast. I think the piece that I think all that we're seeing from a challenge perspective, which is just natural, organic, I think would happen with anything like moving as fast as it is and wanting adoption, is I think there's different use cases and different problem sets for each client. And as we work with kind of specific clients, from a C5 ISR perspective, they've got different needs than clients within the fires community. So really, I think the navigation to have right now, I think it's both. It's being able to get at that level to work with that individual customer and come up with, like you said before, customizable ways, tools, solutions, way to adopt it, navigating that and balancing that with also understanding that there's overall, rules and compliance that is changing too. I mean, obviously with things like CMMC and other things like that. I mean, it's a balance, and I think there's, the solution, the perfect solution is not yet there, and it's really about understanding the individual needs and really trying to develop that tailored solution for whatever that individual set of compliance and needs are.
Yeah, I agree. It's that gray area right now, because there's a push for implementation of AI across all the different parts of the Department of War, Navy, Air Force, and it's like they're telling all these organizations to implement it, but what we're seeing is a lot of these organizations don't know how. And I think companies like ours are going to be super beneficial to those organizations when we can come to them with a solution that's tailored towards them and say, hey, this is how we can fix your problem with your data sets, et cetera. Give us an opportunity. And as a small business, I have to throw it in here. Both Tec Masters and the Lockwood Group are both small businesses. Tec Masters is a hub zone. Of course, the Lockwood Group is service-disabled, veteran-owned. We are always, and I think you guys are as well, always looking for those small business set-asides in these niche areas. And we're always looking for partnerships. Of course, the Tec Masters Group and the Lockwood Group have a great partnership, but we're also looking to partner with other companies that fit into the culture and what we're going after. So be sure to the audience, if you have any questions or want to discuss partnerships or collaboration, make sure you reach out to us. Jim Lockwood, Luke Dormany, the team here at Tec Masters, we're always willing to sit down, have an initial discussion, see if there's areas of synergy, and then move forward. Because as we're finding out, is the teaming is becoming a lot more important now. Would you agree with that?
100%. Yeah. Okay. I mean, our industry has always been a team effort, and I think back to the thread you were alluding to, with the application of technology, there has to be an element, and what we've at least seen initially from a success standpoint is having human in the loop and B, having the right, human experts in the loop. Because back to, I think, what you were saying before, data. So understanding your data and having the right people that understand your data. And then whatever you are developing is also in line with that right data. And that gets back to what you said, partnerships. So, a technology I think as we, both of us, uncover different problem sets, I think there's going to be areas where we're going to be able to either bring the functional area of expertise, some of the technology, but we're going to need technology partners. We're going to need partners that may understand a different client's problem a bit better than ours, but need our applied solution. So 100% partnership, encourage. We're looking for them as well. That's a good point.
Yeah, and I know I didn't yesterday. I sent stuff to Jim about what we were going to try to be talking about today. So I'm going to go a little off what I originally messaged you about. But on this topic, I want to bring up the MDA Shield opportunity, supporting the Golden Dome effort with the administration that is in there right now. Of course, that is a heavy push. Just briefly, or talk as much as you want about it. How are you guys envisioning the Lockwood Group being plugged into the MDA Shield opportunity? And also, congratulations, you guys got awarded that IDIQ, which is a huge responsibility for a company. It's not an easy lift, but could you talk a little bit more about that from the Lockwood Group's perspective and how you envision teaming and supporting that specific effort?
Yeah, and I think that hits on, it's a good follow-up question of partnership, because I think that's what it's, that mission, which is a mission of the nation, really requires partnership. And I think from a standpoint of, what we bring and what Tec Masters as one of our partners brings, there's a different levels of problem sets if you kind of look at the bigger problem, and there's going to take different levels of partnerships depending on, what the MDA and Golden Dome is going to need to support that. And we're positioning both. I think get back to from a pure, I don't want to use compliance perspective, but building the foundation to support, and then just lining up those partnerships. Both those who understand the architecture, but then those who understand the functional requirements. And then just having those teams ready. And we're excited, looking forward to it. I know it's something that we're talking with your team about, and I think it's a very great opportunity moving forward.
Yeah, and before we get into the Mentor Protege program and the aspect from the business side of things, I kind of want to just go back, thinking about something about from the development of capabilities, tools, etc. We have seen, and I just want you to probably talk about the aspect of how we have seen the acquisition change over the last year and a half. The FAR is really, it's there, but it's not there right now. They're talking about lots of changes, right? Of course. And we're seeing a heavy push for more of commercial capable tools that are already developed at a higher TRL 5, TRL 6 level, et cetera. How are you guys with the acquisition change, kind of streamlining that into your business processes to be able to go away from the government paying for the R&D of a specific effort and investing some internal overhead to develop these capabilities for your customers ahead of time, so then you can kind of offer them from a commercial solutions opening or an OTA, et cetera. Could you talk a little bit more about that?
Sure. Yeah, I think I think the direct example right now is what we're doing together on the Mentor Protege. That's a classic case of why we pursued that. We saw that there was a problem and we needed to find the right partnership to make that happen. I think that's one element, and it gets back to, I know we're being redundant, but partnerships. There's a lot of, you look at the nation as an ecosystem. There's a lot of people working on AI that are cutting edge, that maybe at a university, maybe a small company that needs partnerships there. That's kind of one way. So we're establishing those partnerships. And I think with that, getting to know, really the underlying problem of your customer, and then, what's their preferences to solve their problem. Because there's different ways, like you said, there's different, I think really the changes, if we're to look at them, and this, gets back even at kind of the question. I think one, thing that's very clear is speed. speed and be ready, as they would say, fight tonight. I mean, like that's one element of why it's changing. So we're aware of that, we're aware of, operating at that speed. And I think the second piece, which again, I think gets back to, what we're, how we're adjusting ourselves, it's about outcomes. It's very clear that, and I think rightfully, that leadership wants outcomes. They want to buy outcomes. They want to make sure, is back to mission readiness. Is the service I'm buying improving mission readiness? And I'll just use our own example. So really, we're using that as ways we measure ourselves. Are we delivering outcomes? Are we improving mission readiness? So that's some of the adjustments, I think, with the changes. And then I think back to the direct question, partnerships is really the thing we're leaning into now. A lot of partnerships, getting to know the ecosystem, getting to know the right partners, be it companies, individuals, universities, whatever it may be, startups, and pulling together solutions with the right partnerships to solve whatever problem that is our customer needs.
Yeah, totally. I think we can't hammer. We've been hammering it, but I don't think we can hammer it enough. As you know, Dr. Carroll is all about relationships and partnerships, and I'm sure you've heard it. Is his phrase is people do business with people they like, and at the end of the day, you always want those relationships and those open doors to always be there, because you never know when you might have to go ask another company, hey, we need you to support for this specific effort. But so love the explanation, love the talk about the technology. I want to kind of just go back. Of course, we've also, like me and Jim have both mentioned the Mentor Protege program. I kind of want to just go back to, how did you guys hear about the Tec Masters Mentor Protege program, your interactions with Rich, our Mentor Protege director? Could you talk a little bit about that, how that relationship flourished, got into the program, and kind of what the company looked like before you guys were in the Mentor Protege program, and then how the Mentor Protege program has benefited you guys directly? And I know we've talked about it, so you don't have to answer all those questions, but just with that in mind, could you talk a little bit about that?
Sure. I think it's a kind of a good news story, because it happened very organically. I mean, getting back to what we touched on in several different questions, it's been a very natural, organic relationship, and we established it. I mean, the relationship itself, from a company perspective, was established when we partnered up to support what was a new client for us and an existing client for you all, and did a great job and been doing a great job for that client. I think in conjunction with that, we've always had an interest in advancing our innovative mindset, problem-solving mindset. We're very aware of the success Tec Masters, and commitment, I should say, not even success, commitment, that they, Dr. Carroll and rest of the whole team, Rich and everybody, puts to supporting others and supporting businesses. So it's really based purely on that culture, human element. It was of interest. And then, for us, as we identified a problem set and we're looking to develop solutions and technology, we saw no better fit than the Tec Masters team. And I think we touched upon, the legacy technology. And, I know it's not a Tec Masters historical podcast, but as you know, it's decades of expertise and trust that, the community here in Huntsville and other places have in Tec Masters. And that for us was a home run ball. We wanted to work with, trusted partners, and that's really how it happened. And, we put a lot of good legwork into it, and we were excited when we got on board about a year ago.
Yeah. So, and you guys are you guys are the first year of the 3-year effort? Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just asking because I actually didn't know. But along those lines, I kind of just want to foot stomp that there's a lot of companies that have Mentor Protege programs, and really appreciate the kind words from Jim talking about how Tec Masters has really nurtured this program over the years over the decades that Dr. Carroll has been here. But I kind of just want to say that this program is not just something that we partner with and then we do not have any interactions with these companies. Like, we don't have bare minimal, because there's a lot of Mentor Protege programs. You get in the program, the mentor does their thing, you guys do your thing. We are very much having conversations throughout the week with Jim and his team, And it is open communication all the time. Phil and Rich are there to support them. And we value the relational back and forth because we realize that as a team, we're better than we are apart. So just from companies that are going to be looking into our Mentor Protege program, it is a esteemed program. We value it. We make an effort to prioritize our proteges because our protege success is ultimately our success. And we're super excited to have you guys in the protege program. I would ask, I have it on here. It says, one of my questions is, what does a mentor actually need to do for the program to be valuable? And I think you've talked on it, is relational, open communication, the collaboration back and forth on a monthly basis or whatever that looks like. But I think that Tec Masters and the Lockwood Group, I think out of all the projects we've had, you guys kind of organically came to us. You guys were actually supporting one of our clients. And then we said, hey, because we have lots of companies that come to us, right? And that want to be a protege. And I love how that was just organically done. And then over time, we were able to get it finally finalized. There were some delays, I think, in this process with the government shutdown, new administration coming in, et cetera. But no, we're super excited to have you guys as part of the protege program. We're going to help you guys as we can. But from the aspect of supporting the Department of War, are you guys also thinking about the commercialization of any of the tools that you guys are developing from a logistics perspective, or are you guys strictly focused on developing tools and capabilities for the Department of War and federal agencies? Because I know that what we find and what we're looking for in Tec Masters is we see that we're developing internal AI tools and capabilities for the Department of War, et cetera, but we also see applicability of some of those tools in the private sector. So could you talk a little bit more about what you guys are doing there, if that's what you're looking at, and how that process is going for you guys?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I think from a North Star perspective, I mean, commercialization is definitely on the roadmap. We're definitely interested in designing with that in mind. I mean, I think from a pure, practical standpoint, the tools we're working on, are very applicable and appropriate for our commercial, industry partners. And I don't think there's no specific use cases yet, but I think we're already testing out specific use cases, where some of the innovators, who are new to, the military and working with the DOW, don't have the tools in place. They're great at building tech, great at building, unmanned, air system, but don't have the parameters around, how what are the requirements of the military and the soldier. So those are great examples, where, we totally see, an opportunity to, work with the commercial sector and apply, and it's on the roadmap, and, we're excited about it and excited about the opportunity.
Awesome. Yeah. And I know that we've talked about the Tec Masters AI division here. As I don't know if our audience knows, but last year in about the mid 2025 timeframe, we were able, or fortunate enough to hire two AI engineers from MISIC here in town. And of course, they joined our team, brought a lot of experience, technical AI, agentic AI experience to us that we've never been in. So I think the Lockwood Group has been able to see that growth. And as a company starts an AI division, you guys have been very crucial in working with us, learning, because this is a learning opportunity for us as well. When you go on to create a new division, it's a huge effort. How has that benefited, just from an AI perspective? What are the AI guys bringing to you guys? Because I know you guys are working on an AI tool that we talked about earlier. What aspect of a company, of a mentor that has that capability, how does that really set us up for success, especially from a mentor to protege perspective? Because I know that those guys that we have are few and far between. I'm impressed with them daily. It's crazy, all the things that they have experience in. how are they directly impacting you and your AI team, et cetera?
Yeah, I think with broad stroke it and then get specific. I think with any technology, there's experts, right? I mean, it's stating a pretty obvious question. The experts then are the ones that can level set what the art of the possibility is, and put a practical lens to it, and so let me segue that into working with your team. I mean that's I think the most direct value add is as you go down the path of, all right, where can technology be applied to this problem set? Is it a fit? And the things that go along with it. And I think with it, and with a fit and in tech development, it's understanding what else is happening and what the advancements are, and keeping pace. And I mean that alone, is the experts best know. So just the instance, I mean, we have, as you kind of alluding, we've got regular brainstorming sessions where, we're both talking about what we're building, but also, what's going on in the space, and with what's going on and what trends we're seeing, and forecasting what can be applied to what we're building. So just that element. And then obviously the direct interaction with both, the internal team we have working together, and then our functional team. It really both, it designs, you always got to be designing with the user in mind, but then you also want to be designing with the latest that's out there. So the access to that talent is really differentiated in our mind, ensuring that we're putting the latest, the latest, greatest technology into our solution. So then ultimately that's delivered to our customer.
Yeah, and maybe I guess this would, you probably better to explain it than I would be, is the relationship. Yeah, we have the brainstorming sessions, et cetera, but from a mentor project program, we have people supporting you or vice versa. I don't know. I if you want to talk, because I want to know a little bit more about it myself, but we have several guys that are devoted to you guys, right? That are doing some software development, and those guys work a lot outside of the main collaborative efforts. They work very closely together. Use our internal AI service here at Tec Masters. We provide some capabilities. Is that a correct assessment of how the program or how this works between us outside of our main times of collaboration, monthly, et cetera?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean they're part of the team.
Yeah.
I mean, quite honestly, and with when we present our technical team, I mean the technical team includes experts and software and AI experts from Tec Masters. So that's exactly what the arrangement is, along with access to the additional AI division experts you guys have. That's correct.
Yeah, and I think it's from a project perspective, you guys quickly realized that you guys had to lean into the AI space to keep up tabs with like this ever-changing world. It's going so quick. And it was a perfect partnership at the right time, because you guys were already developing the capability. We were trying to get these guys on board. Everything's kind of meshed together, and it's flowed perfectly. So I don't think it could have worked out any better at the right timing. But from the business development aspect, could you talk about different opportunities that you guys are looking at currently? I know you might not share some things, of course, but maybe share some of the different opportunities that you guys are looking at going after, pursuing in the next year or so, and how that looks between the Tec Masters and the Lockwood Group.
Sure. Yeah, I think from a business development perspective, as it relates to our partnership in the Mentor Protege, it's a regular collaboration. I know we've got set engagements where we deep dive and exchange opportunities to partner together. From our standpoint, I think there's obviously a ton of collaboration we have as organizations supporting the fires community. I think there's great opportunity that we're looking at as a group. That tie to those customers and those problem sets. We've talked about obviously Shield and Golden Dome, the opportunities that come there, and some of the solution sets that we're developing internally that can help improve those missions. I think if I was to look at it just from a macro perspective, I think we've discussed as a group what are the priorities of the to the Department of War, and then how do we line up what we're developing in conjunction with those priorities. So if I was to kind of forecast what that, what the pipeline of opportunities it is, it's very much, as a group, we're focused on the priorities of the department, and really that's very much aligned to the opportunities that we're talking about together.
Awesome. Yep. And I think those collaboration efforts are super important when we decide to, are we going to go after this effort or we're not going to go after this effort. Get everyone's everyone's input, and then we make a joint decision. And I think that's been beneficial to us both, to saying, hey, where are we going to spend our time, where we're not going to spend our time, because as you know, it's all business at the end of the day. We want more revenue than expenses coming in, and we also want to grow. From the mission readiness aspect, like you talked about earlier, what capabilities will matter most in the next few years from that perspective? I know because technology is changing, not just from an AI perspective, different hardware, different vehicle ground systems, different aircraft. The way that this fight has taken over from a UAS perspective, counter UAS effort. Where do you see the mission readiness is going to be the most instrumental? I would say probably missile defense, but maybe not. I was just curious to know a little bit about where you guys are thinking about from that perspective.
Yeah, I think the application to improve mission readiness, I think there's, I'll answer the question kind of more to what I see, and I think it's great, the great interest in leadership in bringing in new entities, new technology into the force structure. I think that's fantastic. When we kind of talked about this earlier, when you bring in a new technology partner, entity, whatever it may be, there's elements that they're obviously not privy to when they're not working with the military. And I think those are great use cases and examples where we see an opportunity to bring in unique functional expertise, unique subject matter expertise in terms of warfighting background with those companies that are building. And I'm just giving you one example where they're building new technology that will strengthen us as a nation, but where they're missing the nuances around logistics, sustainment, training, whatever it may be. We see a lot of opportunity there, and that's a lot when we look at the digital sustainment toolkit. Those applications are have popped their head up and are ones we're looking at moving forward in those areas. A lot of the areas that we're seeing, the new UAS you use as an example. It's a classic case where there's a lot of new vendors and new technology companies that, again, doing great things that they're bringing in. That's good applications for a lot of the new kids in the block, new technology providers that I think can bring some great capability.
Yeah, and to maybe just kind of close out the innovation side, Mentor Protege is I want to foot stomp it because you guys have a capability and tool that you guys have developed, almost ready to go to a certain degree. Always are changing it, but it is a customizable AI tool that can be implemented across different sectors of the Department of War, not just the Army, Air Force. Is that a fair statement that you guys can customize this capability to whatever the needs of the customer are rather quickly?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
I think that's a lot of what we've been working on, both leveraging our internal functional expertise, understanding the problem set, but in conjunction with, I think, your technology team to build something that can scale and can be adopted by, Army, Air Force, SOCOM, whatever it may be, to get at logistics quickly, fast, and more efficiently and more effective.
Awesome. I know we're getting close to wrapping it up, but from just the non-technical business aspect, what advice would you give small businesses that are considering a Mentor Protege program? What are the pros and cons, some things that you found difficult, or of course the pros? What would you tell them when they're looking for it? How should they be positioning themselves before joining? Because there's some prerequisites, if you want to say so. Like some companies have to have, first off, you have to have a tool or capability, but you also need to be a certain size. What are some things from you as a owner of a company? What are some things that you can share with some businesses that have started over the last 3 or 4 or 5 years? What would you tell them to help them be ready to join a mentor protege program?
Yeah, I think up front, obviously be patient and persistent in the pursuit. It doesn't happen right away. It's not linear either. I mean, I think as business leaders, we like to build a strategy and plan and follow the strategy and plan, but it doesn't always occur that way. So I think that just the elements of patience, persistence, and I think it's all about the partner and the partnership and who you select. And I think we went through in detail, the relationship, the commonality and core values that our organizations have, and then just the overall culture that I think that we share. So it's a selective process. I mean, because if you're doing it right going in, you would have identified a problem. You would have some, at least theoretical solution for the problem. And you would have selected the right partner that can help you advance, whatever that solution is. So you definitely want to make sure you have that side. So I want to kind of touch that one side where, you need a problem set. And you need to have some sort of solution in mind. And I think the other piece to it is really kind of an understanding of the business and the aspects of the business where you need support. So you select the right partner, different stages of business, different type of help. Understanding those things going in, and then ultimately, I think I'll just go back to the first point. I mean, it's definitely doesn't happen overnight, and and that's a good thing, because you want to select the right partner, because it's, as you said, it's a 3+ year effort to work together, and ultimately, I mean, I think as the DoD and Small Business Office would want to hear, it's a forever relationship, because if you're doing it right, you're working together. For as long as, two entities are in business solving problems, and because you've got really good alignment. And I think that's one of the good news story, I think, with us in making that right selection, and excited about it.
Yep.
And I'm going long, but I think you need to be excited about it too. And that's something we're excited about the relationship. So make sure all those things check before going in and engaging.
Yeah. And I think that is a very crucial note. Is our goal is, yes, for you guys to be super successful in the Mentor Protege program, but what does the long-term engagement look like? And we are building, and we already have been supporting different efforts, supporting that relationship between the two companies, that even after you guys are successfully out of the Mentor Protege program, that we have a great teaming arrangement and a great collaborative effort moving forward for many years to come. So we love the relationship we have with you guys. We're super excited as well about where we're going. I think we're developing together. We're developing some really cool capabilities, and we would love to talk about them to anyone that's watching. Reach out to us. I think we have some tools we can demo rather quickly. And with that, I'm going to say I really appreciate you coming on. Well, before we close out, I know me and Jim both will have to say a few words. We just, this past Friday, celebrated Dr. Marvin Carroll's 90th birthday party. So happy birthday, Dr. Carroll. He does love watching these things, by the way. We are so happy that you're here. You're very instrumental to our company. He's very present. He still shows up to work every single day. But I wanted to wish you a happy birthday myself, and for the rest of the Tec Masters team. We celebrated him big at the Ledges. But I want to throw it over to Jim. What did you think about the party?
It was awesome, and I mean, of course, most important is the star of the party, Dr. Carroll. What a great human being, great leader. I mean, I appreciate the opportunity to be mentored by him and all of his goodness, and fantastic gathering. And happy birthday to you, Dr. Carroll, and exciting time, many exciting times ahead.
Yeah, and I can't. I'm sure Jim is probably I'm going to give some credit to where credit's due. Is I don't know many 90-year-olds that come to work every single day, because you probably see him most of the time when you come into the office. When you guys come once a month, he is always here. So I'm just curious. Do you know another 90-year-old that's coming to work every single day?
He's fantastic. He is.
I know
he's a rock.
He's a rock star, man. I don't know how he does it, but we're happy to have him. But I hope today the conversation really gave a clear understanding of what the Lockwood Group does, how the mentor protege relationship between Tec Masters and the Lockwood Group works, and how the technology actually supports the mission outcomes and supports the mission warfighter. Because at the end of the day, we are designing and developing capabilities for the warfighter to make them more successful in the field, make them mission ready. And for everyone listening, we'll have the podcast pushed out to all the different podcasts. We'll have a link included to the Lockwood Group, so that you guys have any questions, or you want to partner, or just have a general conversation with Jim and his team. Please feel free to reach out. Any last words, Jim? You want to share with the listeners?
Now, this has been a great discussion. I think you hit on it. It's all about the why we do what we do every day. I mean, it's all about the warfighter. And I mean, I'm excited about this partnership. I'm excited about what we're building, and the opportunity to do what we're looking to do to improve the mission readiness and do great things together. So it's been a great discussion, many great times together. And please reach out, and look forward to working with everybody out there.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much.